Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast, a podcast you come to when you're finally ready to take fantasy hockey seriously. My name is Nate Groot Nibbling. I'm the creator of Apples and Ginos, originator of the Zero G Draft Strategy. In this episode, Blake and I are going to tell you how to win in Week 18 of the fantasy season. Let's get it. And of course, I have your friend and my best friend. It's Blake Creamer. Blake, how are we feeling tonight?
Oh, yeah, buddy. It's been a day for you and for me, but we're here. We're ready to go. This is our safe space. Nate and I were trying to figure out the word, I don't know, refuge. This is our comfortable place where we can, be safe with each other. I don't know what's going on. But, yeah, I feel good. I'm ready to get into this. It's going to be an interesting week here. But I do want to shout out Catherine O'Hara, Canadian icon legend, passed away today. So that's really sad. RIP to her. She was one of my favorites. I don't know. Did you ever see Beetlejuice? Did you see the original Beetlejuice, Nate? I know it's before your time, but
Long time ago, yeah.
Oh, you better. Are you lying right now? Are you lying out of respect to Catherine O'Hara?
Would I lie to you?
No, never. That's confirmed. So, but yeah, Catherine O'Hara, Beetlejuice, Home Alone. Oh my God, amazing stuff. Schitt's Creek, damn, really good stuff. So shout out to her, anyways. But we got some waiver wires to talk about here. We got some bits and pieces. I'm excited to get into it with you, my man.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't waste any time because this is a very unique week. But before we get into the waiver wire stuff, I think, Blake, we got to let the people have some newsies.
Newsies! Yeah, we're back to business, Nathan, and it feels good. I'm not even on the right page here. All right, let's talk about the news. Jack Hughes is in the news again. Okay, he's injured.
He's in the news, or
I don't know where you're going with this. Yeah, Jack Hughes. Yeah,
it
sounds like
said it. I wasn't sure.
Okay, thank you. You're really, yes, you're putting up obstacles, and I'm trying to just move forward, Nathan. Damn it! All right, we're 2 minutes in. Jack Hughes is in the news because of his injury again. Really frustrating stuff. Lower body injury. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even see what happened. He just tweaked something apparently. So he's getting some imaging done, some tests. He's being evaluated. For what it's worth, Sheldon Keefe said it didn't seem too serious, so he wasn't too concerned. But I don't really like the way that is trending. Like, if he's not too concerned, why is he getting imaging? And they're not really being forthcoming with it, right? So with him out, Timo Meier is up on power play 1. Connor Brown is up on power play 1 for some random reason. But like, I've been having all these conversations. I feel like I'm on an island, and I need to commiserate with someone who potentially agrees with me. Like, the injury narrative with Jack Hughes. What are your thoughts on it? Because I can't get behind it. I know people get pissed, right? Like, we're all like, damn it again. Like, what's this? But these injuries are so random. I'm not seeing like to just say this guy's soft or he's, can't play a full season. Like, yes, that's true in, technically, but there's a lot of nuances in there. Like, do you think the injury narrative with Jack Hughes is real? And do you think there's something physically wrong with him that stops him from being able to play a full 82 games?
I think it's impossible to know that, first off. Like, anybody who claims to know that is talking out of their rear end, and I'm not interested in having that conversation. I think it's possible. I think, they could have just a bad kind of sports science department going on there with the Devils, and they could be not putting him in the best place to succeed, and that could be contributing to some of the stuff going on. That's possible. I don't know how much I really buy any of that. Whenever we have a player like this, and like, this is not the first player and it won't be the last who kind of gets this attached to them, but I always think about Evgeny Malkin and all those years that he was so injury prone. And when you went back and looked at it, there was like a stretch where there was a good stretch where he missed a big chunk of time in a few consecutive years, and that's what really set the narrative. And yeah, he missed time in a lot of years, but most of it was like in the order of 10 games. But then, like, he gets into his late 30s, and now he's banging out 82 game
Yeah,
seasons year after
no
year.
problem.
And, like, that just is always the reminder for me is, like, we don't know what we think we know about this stuff. And so I'm always going to be willing to take an injury discount just because we don't know. So I think that's where I'm still going to land with Jack Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, when he gets back, I'm still interested. Like I talked to him or talked about him in my buy low show a little while ago. I still think he's a massive buy low, even more now because people are pissed. You get the comments in the Discord, you get the comments on Twitter. Like people are like, "I'm never drafting him again." It's like, okay, great, and then I'll take him. You know what I mean? Like I think, as long as this injury isn't something too significant, like I'm interested in trying to get him for this season to finish up the season strong. I think he'll be better, and hopefully his hand gets healed up too, so he can start shooting properly. Anyways, shout out to Jack Hughes. RIP to your fantasy squads. You picked him in the first round like I did in one spot. It's not great. All right, let's move over to the Rangers. You and I haven't talked yet about Panarin and what the hell's going on there. So obviously he's being held out for trade-related purposes. I was surprised by that. It was just like that. It's very quick. Like, oh, Panarin's not playing and probably won't play again. That's his last game with the Rangers. Like, what? That's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I mean, we knew that he wasn't getting extended there, but what do you think? Like, do you have any kind of thoughts on where he might go, what his fantasy value might be in different places?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything that isn't publicly available. So Elliot Friedman, obviously on 32 Thoughts podcast, did a big segment on Panarin, and they listed off like
Yeah,
20
the whole
teams
the
that
whole
are,
NHL.
yeah, that are potentially interested in acquiring a guy who can score at a 100-point pace. Shocker, if you put a guy like that out there, people are going to be interested. I did think it was interesting that like seemed interested in like all the California teams, so LA, Anaheim, and San Jose. It sounds like Anaheim is kind of out of the running because he wants to get an extension done. Like he wants that to be part of the package. He wants to go somewhere and stay there. He doesn't want to do like just a mercenary end of the season somewhere and then pick his spot in the off season. He wants to go somewhere with an extension in place. So if he wants to do that, then obviously the options narrow a bit. Utah's always going to be in the mix on these kind of things. There are a lot of teams that should be interested in this, right? Like it makes sense that there's that much interest league wide. It's just that a lot of like the really big names, I don't think can make it work with the cap. Like the
Yeah.
Colorados, the Dallas, the even the Florida. Like it was rumored that he was interested in going there, but like how are they going to make that work with an extension? I don't think they possibly can without major overhaul of that lineup. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I don't really have a good sense, but I do think wherever he goes, he's going to be top line, top power play. He's going to get his complement of minutes. I don't think it's going to be worse than it was with the Rangers, to be quite honest with you. I think he's good enough to apply his trade wherever he goes.
Yeah, I like that take. I mean, this is the type of guy he's kind of at a Kucherov level, offensively. I mean, Kucherov light maybe, but he drives play at a very elite level. And yeah, if given the keys when he's out there, line one, power play one, with a better team and a better system, and yeah, I think that I don't see it getting worse. So, anyways, yeah, shout out to Panarin. I think that's a really interesting piece. Sucks if you drafted Panarin for the Rangers playoff schedule, because
Yeah.
he could go somewhere like Utah, who does not have a good playoff schedule, and that's showing no good. But it's fantasy hockey, folks. All right, it's a cruel, cruel game. All right, but we love it.
I should say Washington was the other one that makes a lot of sense, just on paper at least, and they're interested as well. So they have the cap space, they have the prospects and stuff to make it happen deal wise. So that one does make a lot of sense on paper.
What a prognosticator. Oh my God. I'm saying he's going to San Jose just for fun. Oh man,
That would
how
be pretty
sweet would
sick.
that be? My God. All right, let's move on. We'll get going a little quicker here. Just hadn't talked to you in a little while. Over to Chicago, Artem Lavshunov. Sounds like he's going to be benched while they work on his development, which is kind of an interesting thing to just announce publicly as well. Like, it sounds like he's not going to play again before the Olympics, which I think is pretty strange. Coach Blashill is asking him to work on defensive fundamentals, shooting technique, things like that. So yeah, it's a work in progress, but I think this is a data point for Levshinov. Like we can't rely on him rest of season as kind of a fantasy asset. I think he could be in and out of the lineup, kind of like Owen Zellweger. last year, like a player like that, right? Good offensive
Yeah.
chops, but he's going to get less than 20 minutes most likely. We got Matt Grzelcyk out on power play 1 in Friday's game here. Do we care about that? I don't know. Did you care about Lev Shunov? Because if you did, maybe you care about Grzelcyk as well. I mean, it's a power play 1 quarterback, and he may not even have it next game, right? If they want Rinzel back up there, so we'll see what's what. But over to Toronto, Willie Nylander trending towards playing on Saturday. That's good news. Maximus Domius has been taking his spot on power play 1. Get the hell out of my sight. Actually, he's been playing pretty good, Max Domi. So,
Yeah.
I don't want to crap on the man. But yeah, Nylander's coming back. That's good for the Buds there. In San Jose, Kiefer Sherwood could make his debut with the Sharks on Saturday as well, which is, I just think that's a really nice trade for San Jose. Nice vote of confidence from Mike Greer there. It'd be interesting to see where he slots in. He has a really underrated shot. This guy can whip the puck for sure. He can generate shots off the rush as well. Plus, he can grind it out in a third line role as well. He's just bringing a lot to the table. I like the trade a lot. Hate to see him go, but I love to watch it leave. Oh my God. You know what I'm talking about, Nate. I'm sorry. Let's move over to St. Lou. Rob Thomas. I'm not crazy. I'm still a day-to-day. He's day-to-day, folks. But it sounds like he's inching closer towards playing. Also, yeah, he's rumored in trades as well. So I think that would be a really nice piece for a playoff team. They get healthy, or he gets healthy. And Rob Thomas is a great facilitator, amazing passer. So he could really complement another team if he gets moved. Dylan Holloway for the Blues likely shut down until after the Olympic break with he's just kind of managing that upper ankle sprain that he's dealing with there. In Vancouver, Brock Besser's likely not going to play until after the Olympic break as well. After that, Brian Rust headshot, dirty play. Don't like to see it. Especially to such a nice person with a great head of hair like Brock Besser. So, yeah, he's not going to play. In Pittsburgh, Evgeny Malkin, talking about him. Chris Letang, both day-to-day. Also, both possibilities for this Saturday's game. So just keep an eye on their status. They could both potentially return there. In Boston, Elias Lindholm, Pavel Zacha, both dealing with their respective injuries. They aren't traveling with the team to Florida. They could miss the upcoming Stadium Series as well, which stinks for them. So treat them as day-to-day, until we hear more. We need some updates there. In San Jose, back to San Jose, Tyler Toffoli, Jeff Gillooly. He's battling illness. Check his status prior to the next game. I think he'll probably be good to go. In Florida, Brad Marchand, the Rat, missed the third period in Friday's game against the Blues. He's still being evaluated. We don't have any updates there yet. My spicy hot take with the Florida Panthers might come true here, Nate. They're fighting for their playoff lives out there.
They really are. I mean, everybody is in the East. It's an absolute gong show at this point. But there is starting to be like some separation. You're starting to see talk about like the Leafs being sellers, for example. I think they have to at least examine that possibility. I don't think the Panthers are necessarily going to go that route. But yeah, if you look at it right now, Panthers are 8 points back of the second wild card spot with a couple games in hand, but still.
Who would put that together besides this brain, Nathan? You know what's going on. Oh, yeah. Sweet. I'm the most modest fantasy analyst out there. I've heard that before, so I just want to shut myself up. Troy Terry of the Anaheim Ducks, he's not quite ready to return. He's day-to-day. Next chance to play for him is Sunday. He was close last game, so I hope that he does get back in on Sunday. The Ducks are a skeleton crew, but they've been making it work to some degree. Dossel's been playing really well. Beckett Seneca as well, going nuts, going ham. So I'd love to see that, but obviously they need Troy Terry back in the lineup. In Calgary, Zane Parekh, he's finished his 2-week AHL stint, and he's going to be joining the team next week. Sounds like he's expected to play both games that they have before the Olympic break. So that is going to be a really good data point for us as well for Zane Parekh. I think that he could be a really nice stash, because, if he gets, like Nate talked about in the offseason here, if Calgary's out of the picture, which they are, what's the harm in putting Zane Parekh out there for 20 minutes a night and power play 1 and letting him see what he can do because he's quite the offensive talent. So keep an eye on Zane Parekh there. Over to Washington, Logan Thompson is day-to-day with an upper body injury. And now Charlie Lindgren actually had to be helped off the ice after winning the shootout. What a legend. I saw the team was like, kind of carrying him to the dressing room. So love that. But I don't know, just something to monitor, right? We haven't heard anything else about Lindgren's status or Thompson really, but they're both day-to-day. So, I mean, who's the third guy? They called up some guy named Clay Stevenson, I think.
Yep.
What? That's a cool name, Clay. I don't know. I have nothing else to add there. Just a cool name. And lastly, UPL, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in Buffalo. He's set to miss a little bit of time here as per Lindy Ruff. So Alex Lyon, you got to have him. Get him on your squad. This guy's playing unreal right now. But that's it, buddy. Let's get into the schedule attack.
All right, let's attack that schedule. It is a wild week, so let's saddle up. We have two pieces to this week. We have the piece before the Olympic break and the piece after the Olympic break. I know there are some people who have different matchup setups where, like it's basically just this first week before the Olympics, and then it's a whole other week for the part where they come back. So this upcoming week, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, Monday through Thursday, we have some games. On the Monday, we have 10 games. Tuesday, 7 games. Wednesday, 10 games. And Thursday, 7 games. And then after the Olympic break, when they're coming back, they come back on a Wednesday with 8 games, Thursday, 12 games, Friday, 4 games, Saturday, 13 games, and Sunday, March 1st, is 6 games. So we are going to have to kind of split this thing up and talk about it in a little bit of bits and pieces here and there, but 77 total games played. It is a very weird, very heavy week. Like there's going to be a lot of points scored in this week if you're playing on both sides of the Olympic break here, which is, I think, the default across a couple of sites. So that is what we're going to go with here. So we're going to talk specifically like the APL. We do it on Yahoo, and that's the default there, and that's what we're following. So that's the way we're going to mostly address it, but we are going to break it up before and after for anybody who has a little bit of a different schedule in their specific league. So there are 5 teams that play 3 games played and 2 off nights before the Olympics. That's going to be Buffalo, New York Islanders, Ottawa, Pittsburgh, and Washington. There are 4 teams that play 2 games played with 2 off nights before the Olympics: Carolina, New Jersey, Philadelphia, and Tampa Bay. But also these heavy nights, the Monday and Wednesday, are both 10 games. So there's a pretty good chance that you're actually going to have some space on there. So you might want to just focus on the teams that play the 3 games and the 4 nights there. Obviously, leave that up to you and what works with your squad. There are 4 teams that play 3 games played with 3 off nights after the Olympics. That's going to be Anaheim, Utah, Winnipeg, and Vegas. And then 4 teams that play 3 games played with 2 off nights after the Olympics: Buffalo, Florida, Minnesota, and Washington. So it is definitely going to be a situation where you're going to have to think about both ends here. You can look at week-long streams doing something like Buffalo and Washington, who in total play 6 games played with 4 off nights. You could do Vegas, 5 games played, 4 off nights. Anaheim, 4 games played, 4 off nights. Florida, New York Islanders, Pittsburgh, 6 games played and 3 off nights. But again, if you are thinking about it in pieces, you are going to have to really intentionally walk through what that looks like for your lineup. It looks a little bit something like this. If you're with us on YouTube, you're seeing the Frozen Tool Schedule Planner. Great resource in weeks like this where you really got to sit down and hammer out what your plan is overall. I think that it's important to, try to get ahead and put yourself in a good spot here with the first set of games. Maybe get those 3 games in 4, like we mentioned there, especially if you have options. Like you have a bunch of teams that play on that Monday, the 10-game Monday, but you also have a couple teams here in Florida and Nashville who they play some off nights, but they play also on the Monday and the Wednesday. So if you have room on both of those, that opens up another couple teams for you. There's just a lot of ways that you can crumble this particular cookie. And then when you get back, there's a bunch of teams, as we mentioned, that play all on the off nights, and so that really opens up what you're able to do. Anything you want to add there, Blake? I think we should talk about like ad distribution too.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like week-long streams I don't think are really going to work here because there's such a long break in between the 2 kind of halves of this week. And we know even from the 4 Nations last year, what happens at that tournament. You get players that are injured. And when you get players that are injured, you get guys that move up the lineup, right? And also the other way it goes is true as well, right? You get guys that were on the IR that have time to heal up, and now after the break they come back, and now you're looking at potentially dropping players. So I think that it's really important that we sort of focus on the first half here and at least get through that. And also, like, depending on how many ads you have per week, like, I don't know, I haven't even checked, Nate, but in the APL, what do we have? Is it still the same 4 ads?
Still the same 4.
4 ads. So check and see how many ads you have. Like, I wouldn't be using more than 2 ads at for this first 4 games. That's kind of my opinion there. You want to have a little bit of flexibility moving forward. You don't want to come back after the break and in good shape, but just have everything all jumbled up and not be able to make adjustments.
Yeah, I concur with all that advice. I think, yeah, like guys like PLD who have been out for months, there's a pretty good chance that PLD comes right back and starts the very first game when we get back after the Olympic break, and everybody's going to be like, oh, I didn't even think about him coming back, and now I got to scramble, and your whole plan is thrown off if you were planning to do something a little bit more week long, or you're looking ahead to that schedule. Like, the temptation will be after the early games go to immediately go and add people for the second half of that week. And in some cases that might work, like if there are some players that you're pretty confident in who happen to be out there on your wire and you think they just shouldn't be in general out on the wire and they happen to have great schedules, I think you can make some of those ads potentially. It would be case by case for sure. But in general, I do think you're going to want to wait and see what happens because, yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of information. Players getting injured at Olympics, players coming back from injury that we're not even going to hear about until they start practicing again back here in North America. Yeah, a lot is going to change. So stay fluid and give yourself the best situation to adjust to things once the Olympics are over. All right, Blake, enough of that. We've got to move into another segment we like to call Lowered Expectations.
You bet, big dog. All right, let's get into this. We want to talk about the worst teams to stream and potential drops going in here. And just again, keep in mind what we just talked about, right? We're not looking at the whole week really. We're gonna kind of break this up a little bit to try and give you a bit of perspective as well. But we'll start with Boston. Boston, you like apples? How do you like them apples? Huh? Good Will Hunting. You ever see it?
Yep.
Oh, good. All right. Yeah, it is very good. All right. It's nice, Nathan. It's nice to just be together on that. Boston plays 3 games with 0 off nights over the whole week 18. So we're going to split this up before Olympics and after Olympics. So Boston only plays 1 game with 0 off nights pre-Olympics, and they only play 2 games with 0 off nights after the Olympics. So it's going to be really tough, right? I mean, especially because they only have 1 game in the first part. Like, I think you have a chance of getting a 3-game player in there, right? That's a +2. So it's going to be really hard to hold guys on Boston. And some of the players we're looking at, Nikita Zadorov, I think is pretty much an easy drop. You got Lindholm and you got Zaka, who are both day-to-day right now. Hopefully you can get them in your IR, right? I think that makes a lot of sense. But if you can't, are you holding on to guys like Lindholm or Zaka if you can't put them in IR? And also, I'll throw Victor Arvidsson in there as well. Guy's been playing unbelievable, at least under the hood, but he's still not getting the minutes.
Yeah, I think that you really do have to examine it pretty tightly. Lindholm actually has some good underlying metrics for the first time in a while. Last 4 games, 42nd individual expected goals, 4 per 60. Zaka's are not nearly as good, and so I would have a lot less qualms about dropping Zaka in particular. If he comes off of the year IR plus and you have to make a decision on him one way or another. Lindholm, I would be trying to hang on to. He's been pretty much a fixture next to Pasternak for a while now. Really does seem like they've got some chemistry going there, and he's been a huge beneficiary of that. So I would be trying to hang on to Lindholm, but again, if he's the bottom of your roster, if he's legitimately that last piece, and there's somebody out there who you think is going to make a big difference and potentially will make a big difference relative to what Lindholm's going to give you, especially if Lindholm's not even necessarily playing for you on that heavy night, yeah, I can definitely see a lot of scenarios in which I would be okay with letting Lindholm go. Definitely Zadorov. Arvidsson, yeah, I mean, if we were promised 18 minutes a night, there might be something here. 11th in shots per 60, 41st individual expected goals per 60 over the last 5 games, but 14.5 minutes average time on ice, not going to cut it. You can definitely drop Victor Arvidsson.
There you go. That is Boston. Let's talk about the next tier down of teams that are, potential bad teams to have and drop players from. We got Detroit and we got Montreal. They both play 4 games with 0 off nights, and both teams play 2 games with 0 off nights before the Olympics and 2 games with 0 off nights after the Olympics. So yeah, I like Nate said, I mean, pre-Olympics, there's the busy nights are 10 games. So you might be able to get these players in, right? So you have to look at that. I think post Olympics, that's when it starts to get a little bit more difficult, right? We got a 12 game Thursday and a 13 game Saturday. You're not going to be able to get those players in there. So let's start with Detroit, and we're looking at patty cakes. All right, Patrick Kane, right, who we've been telling you to hold all year. That's going to be an interesting piece. I mean, I'm interested to hear what you're going to do with Patrick Kane. Simon Edmondson, he's currently out. I don't think he's going to play at least pre-Olympics there. So I think he's an easy drop unless you got an IR plus spot. You got Kopp is out here. JVR, Marco Casper. Talk to me about the Detroit Red Wings. Patrick Kane in particular. What are you doing with that player?
Patrick Kane, I'm still trying to hang on to. I think there's some signs of life in the underlying metrics. Back on power play 1, JVR moved down. I I did always kind of feel like it was like, oh, this is working for the moment, so let's keep rolling with it. And then the second it wasn't going to work, they were going to go back to what had
Yeah.
worked for a very long stretch of time prior. And so I think that the most likely scenario is that Kane gets the vast majority of power play 1 work the rest of the season, and I'm into that. He's been pretty solid at 5v5 with Kopp and DeBrincat there on that line. I wouldn't say he's been burning the doors down or anything, but under the hood, the numbers look solid. The last little bit, not so much, but obviously not getting power play 1 time, so that takes a chunk out of it as well. I would be trying to hang on to Patrick Kane if at all possible. Everybody else there, including Marco Casper, currently playing line 1, I would be more than happy to let go.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. Let's move on to Montreal. And yeah, this becomes a bit easier as well. We got players like the Professor, Mike Matheson. We got Texier out there as well. I want to throw in a player like who's been playing pretty damn well lately, Demidov. Like he's been getting, power play 1. He's been putting some points on the board. What are you doing with a player like Demidov and then Matheson and Texier?
Yeah, I think you're hanging on to Demidov. Power play 1, they're playing that line a ton of minutes. That Kapanen, Slavkovsky, Demidov line is getting a lot of run. Yeah, I think you're hanging on to Demidov just for the ceiling case. Like, players of this talent level, there's always a ceiling case where he just absolutely detonates for the rest of the season. Everything goes in like it's posting in every time instead of
Yep.
posting out, and he just has like a 90-point pace to end the season here. That's definitely within the range of outcomes, and I'm just not into dropping guys like that, especially at this stage of the season where you need those guys who pop off at the right time for you. Mike Matheson's an interesting case. 5 assists in his last 5, 23.5 minutes average time on ice, 26th shots per 60, 25th on ice expected goals for per 60. Some really nice numbers under the hood for the Professor there. That being said, I would still be willing to
Yeah.
drop him if it made sense for my team. If he's like your 5th defenseman, you want to go down to 4 defensemen and really maximize your forward streaming, I think that you could definitely let him go. Texier, same thing. You could let him go.
There you go. Let's move on to the last team we want to talk about here in depth, the New York Rangers. 3 games over this time with 1 off night. So 1 game with the 1 off night pre-Olympics. I mean, when did they play? New York plays on they don't play until Thursday, the 7-game Thursday. So that's a tough hold. That's a really tough hold, but
Yeah.
they do play that Thursday there. So that's fine. And then after the Olympics, 2 games, 0 off nights. So we're going to have to make some decisions because, yeah, this team is in flux. We've got Panarin out of the lineup now. You got Alexis Lafreniere on the top power play. You got Vladislav Gavrikov on the top power play as well. Will Cooley is out here, solid peripheral floor. These are all guys that can do things for fantasy and could see a bump in fantasy production on a per game basis. What are you doing in a week like this?
Honestly, I don't think any of these guys move the needle enough for me to say that you have to hang on to them. I know like everybody's focused on that schedule, but the schedule only applies if the team and the player are any good. Will Cooley had like a little stretch early on that I think everybody's hanging on to, but he really has not been very effective, especially getting demoted down the lineup. Like it depends too who they're going to take out of this lineup. Like if Panarin is the only one of the forwards moved and he gets to play with, like Zibanejad and Miller for the rest of the season, for example, like I can see a scenario in which Cooley is pretty solid. But like, am I really going to potentially handcuff my roster in a week that I really need to win for getting the buy in my league or
Yep.
actually making playoffs in my league just to hope that Will Cooley is relevant for my playoff schedule? I'm not willing to do that. If you have the luxury, if you're like sitting pretty for playoffs, maybe yeah, you hang on to a guy like that. Lafreniere, like I am not into what Lafreniere brings to the table, allegedly brings to the table. I think everybody's hanging on to one like solid but not spectacular season where he lived beside Panarin at every 5v5 minute, and Panarin made him look a lot better than he actually is. With Panarin out of the picture, I think Lafreniere falls off the map completely. Gavrikov, if he's playing power play one, then maybe, but I don't think he's going to be playing power play one. We've got a Adam Fox sighting in practice in the last little bit. I don't know how close he is necessarily. Probably after the Olympics, but still, like there's a definite time limit on Gavrikov's relevance here, and he could very easily just give you donuts for the few games here. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with the Rangers.
Yep, I like all of that. I will say I think this is an interesting time to watch Alexis Lafreniere to see what like this is like a data point, right? This is a box score checking thing. Like
How many data points do we need with this guy?
it never stops, Nathan. All right, damn it. This guy's he's got pedigree, damn it. But yeah, I'm with you there. I totally agree. This is not a player you have to hold on to, and I do want to show Will Cooley out as well. Just if you're in a league that values periffs, right? Like I've got him in the fantasy puck league, and he's ranked 67th overall in the format. Right. And he's not scoring a damn thing. He's pacing for less points than last year, but it's because of those riffs. So, yeah, just making sure it makes sense for your team. There are 3 teams that play 4 games with 1 off night. We don't have it written in our sheet here, Nathan. Damn it. I don't have it there. And there are also 6 teams that play 5 games with 1 off night, but we're not going to go into those teams there. We got to get into a little section that we like to call Crossing the Streams. Oh yeah. You ever just cross a stream, Nate? You do that with anybody else besides myself? Like, are you venturing out? I mean, obviously you and I are forbidden to cross the streams, but do you ever just meet a random friend, you make a connection, right? And you're like, hey, buddy, you want to just hit this, right? There's a bathroom right there. You want to do that? You ever do that?
I can't say that I am going about and offering random crossing of the streams to people I've just met. No.
Damn it. I mean, I feel like we should normalize it a little bit, right? It's just a connection, Nathan. All right. It's from our bodies. I don't know. I'm sorry about that. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, we lost it. Let's talk about the best teams to stream here, crossing the streams. And yeah, again, disclaimer, remember, it's 2 separate parts of the week here. We're definitely looking at the first part, in my opinion, but let's talk about the teams that have the best schedule for the week. And starting with Buffalo and Washington. They both play 6 games with 4 off nights. Both teams play 3 games with 2 off nights before and after. So these are your huckleberries right here, right? Certainly for the first part of the week, like I'm looking at getting some Buffalo and Washington players, and there's some good ones out there. Let's start with Buffalo. Bowen Byram, anybody interested in Bowen Byram? I got a Bowen Byram for sale. Real cheap. Okay. He's not doing a damn thing. I was so excited about Bowen Byram when he was getting more minutes, just because that's a per minute guy that we've liked in the past. And the team is winning, so it's all good, but he's not getting the fantasy production. But he's out here. That dog, Josh Stone. We got Ryan McLeod, Jason Zucker, Big Pimpin'. And then we got Jack Quinn. Shout out to Ryan, our boy on the trade talks there. He was really big into Jack Quinn in the offseason, and this guy's putting some points on the board. So really nice stuff. What do you like about the Sabres here?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some options on the Sabres that I'm interested in. Doan and Zucker are number 1 and number 2 for me. pretty clearly top power play being the number one thing that I'm into there with those two. I think Zucker is actually a really, really effective power play player for
Yeah.
them. I think Josh Stone, obviously, we've waxed poetic already about what Josh Stone can bring to the table. He's been a little inconsistent as of late, kind of some ups and downs, but still showing us those ceiling games as well. So, really like Josh Stone. If he's available out there, then yeah, down the lineup, you've got guys like McLeod and Quinn. Both have 6 points in their last 5 games. Quinn's underlying numbers looking pretty solid, especially the individual stuff over the last little bit. So maybe he can stay in the Flames a little bit longer here. Don't mind either of those two guys as a look for the upcoming week. Bowen Byram, I think probably he ran really hot for a bit, and now he's running a little bit cold. And the truth is probably actually not that far off from his current 40-point pace that he's on. So I do think he's still a perfectly cromulent option as a defense streamer for the week. I really like Buffalo and Washington in particular as stream options this week if you're able to get one of these guys, because you have the luxury of picking them up for this first part of the week, but also they have a great second part of the week, so you can just leave them on your roster and you can see how things go. And if you need to drop them because you have players coming back from IR or whatever the case, then no skin off your back. But if you end up getting there and they're the best streamers available again, like then you're just winning on both ends of the coin. So really like those options with Buffalo and Washington. Wanted to shout that out.
Yep, absolutely, buddy. Love that in Buffalo. Shout out to Noah Ostlund as well. I think if you're in a really deep
Yeah.
league, like that's a player that can do something offensively as well. In Washington, let's talk about some of the players there. We got Ryan Leonard. Hello, Leonard. PLD. He's on IR, but like Nate said, he could be back post Olympics and just jump right into your lineup, jump into a pretty big role for this team. So definitely kick tires on PLD out there. Connor McMichael, Justin Sordiff, who was getting some good power play time here last game. He's a top sixer and he's a fringe power play performer. I think he's kind of a gem, Justin Sordiff. I think there's something to that player, but obviously we like Ryan Leonard as well. Talk to me how you're sort of ranking these caps.
Yeah, I think I'm still taking Leonard there first, still on the top power play there, which is obviously a pretty important piece of the puzzle. Justin sort of playing with Alexi Protest and Tom Wilson in the last game there is a pretty interesting piece. So I think that makes sense as the second option, and then McMichael a little bit below those two guys. PLD, if he comes back, would probably fit somewhere in here. I mean, it's not inconceivable that he comes right back on power play one. Like that wouldn't be too shocking. Maybe not the first game, but the second game. I mean, it really depends how Spencer Carberry's feeling at any given moment. So I am interested in all of these players in different leagues and in different settings, but I would go Leonard, sort of McMichael.
Inconceivable. All right. Princess Bride. Right, you know what I'm
Yes.
talking about. Okay, sweet. All right, I think that was made before you were born. You actually watched a movie that was made before you were born, Nathan?
Yes, it's one of
Wow.
my wife's favorite movies.
All right.
I've been subjected to it a few times.
Smart lady. All right. Good taste as well in men, clearly. I mean, damn. Look what I'm looking at here, folks. Damn, get on YouTube so you can see this beautiful man. Oh, what a mug. All right. Let's talk about the next team here. Vegas Golden Knights. They play 5 games with 4 off nights in week 18, 2 games and 1 off night pre-Olympics, 3 games, 3 off nights post-Olympics. So really a nice piece. Yeah, it's a fine piece of meat. Oh, in the back. Sometimes I want to swear on here, and I'm really trying hard not to swear. And sometimes it kind of handcuffs me a little bit, and that's fine. But yeah, Vegas is a really nice option post Olympics, right? 3 games, 3 off nights. But that's something we can deal with at a later time. Let's talk about the streamers on this team. You got, come on, Bobby, let's go potty. Ivan Barbashev. He's out here getting some good even strength deployment. He really fits on that top line there with Eichel. I like when they do that. You also got Riley Smith out here. Got a shorty the other night. That was nice to see. But really not moving the needle in terms of offense. Is there anyone else on Vegas? I don't. I'm not really.
Not
I think
much.
those are kind of the two that we're really looking at here. What do you think?
Yeah, it's really about who's getting that Eichel, Mark Stone exposure. They've tried both players, Barbashev and Riley Smith, in that role in the last few games here. So basically, I want to take a look at whoever is there. Braden Bowman has been playing with Dorofeev and Marner, so it's not a terrible place to be either, but that's a definitely a deep cut at this point. So yeah, really it's just about where are the lines at, who's playing with Eichel and Stone, is it Barbashev, is it Riley Smith, and pick up accordingly. This is definitely more slanted towards the after Olympic, but I think it's important that you have these players in the back of your mind for that if and when you do go to the wire to figure out who will help you the most after the Olympic break.
There you go. Let's move on. Anaheim Ducks is the next team down here. They play 4 games. They're all on the off nights, but pre-Olympics they only play 1 game and it's on an off night. So that again, that's going to be kind of tough there. You got Anaheim playing. Where are they? Sorry, yeah, they play on the Tuesday, which is a 7-game Tuesday. So that's fine, right? But after the Olympics, they play 3 games with 3 off nights. So exactly the same as Vegas. You're gonna want to check. It's got to make sense for your team. But Beckett Seneca, if he's out there, like I want that guy on my team, right?
Yeah.
He's been great. Yeah, the underlyings are even better as of late, like in terms of expected goals and his line expected goals. This guy really drives play, and he's feeling it right now. You can tell that. Mikhail Granlund as well. I watched a lot of that Anaheim game where the Canucks won. The Canucks won, Nate. Oh, damn. But
we want the cup.
Yeah. That's so sad. That's, oh my God. Like, yeah, this is all we have, right? But yeah, it was a nice little win for the team. But Granlund he was really noticeable out there. That guy's a really slick player. I'm a fan of him. I think he can kind of get in where he wants there. Is he can be a defensive guy, he could be an offensive guy. I like Mikhail Granlund a lot. I'm putting that out there. And we also got Chicken Necks, Chris Kreider. Yeah, he's really low rostered and he's still putting some shots out there. Good power play presence. I mean, whether he's on power play 1 or 2. What is your pleasure, sir, with the Ducks?
Yeah, obviously, if Seneca's out there, that's a priority for me. Underlyings look really good. 53rd shots for 60, 63rd. Individual expected goals for per 60, 20th. And individual scoring chances for per 60. Over 19 minutes a game, 5 points, 3 goals in his last 5. Mikhail Granlund has 6 points in his last 5. Obviously, had that big hat trick night there, over 20 minutes a game. Underlying's not so hot for Granlund. Generally more of a playmaker than a goal scorer. And so his on ice stuff is still pretty solid. And if he's getting those minutes, then that's hard to argue with. But yeah, as the Ducks potentially get a little bit healthier here with the return of Troy Terry, maybe that means a reduction in minutes for some of these players. That'll be something to watch as well. Chris Kreider, we'd been talking in the past about how his underlying numbers really fell off there for a while, and it looks like they're back. 37th shots per 63rd individual expected goals for per 60 in the last 5 games, 16.5 minutes average time on ice, 34th on ice expected goals for per 60. Looks to me like Chris Kreider's back, and that makes him a really solid streaming option here.
Yep, you'll love to see it. Let's move on to a couple other teams here. We're looking at Florida, the New York Islanders, and Pittsburgh. They all play 6 games with 3 off nights. All right, and we'll dissect this here. Florida plays 3 games with 1 off night. Pre-Olympics, they play 3 games with 2 off nights post-Olympics. So pretty good schedule for me. I mean, especially if you can get him in on those 10 gamers, right? So I'm going to throw some names at you. I want you to rank them for me, Nate. We got Anton Lundell, who is battling an injury currently, but we'll see if he's back in for next week. Gustav Forsling, Evan Rodriguez, and Uvis Balinskis, one of the best names in the NHL, who's currently power play 1 with the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, I think if Lindell's healthy, you still go him first. Should have the most opportunity. He ran a bit hot for a while. Has run a bit cold over the last little bit.
Yep.
Maybe, the injury was something that's been underlying, and maybe he's getting a little bit healthier here, and he comes back and he's actually back to full. And Matt Tkachuk in the lineup again just makes that offense a little bit more dangerous. Even when Lundell is playing with other players, it makes the other team have to respect the line that Kachuk's on and maybe take some defense away from Lundell. I think it's just a net positive from where they were previously. Yep. So I take Lundell first. Rodriguez runs hot and cold, as we know. Guy who likes to chuck pucks, but fails to convert on a vast majority of those shots. I think that he's a fine option as a streamer in a deeper league, but I'm not excited about it. Balinskis, it's a bit of a shot in the dark. Even with the power play 1, it's not been... The results have not been glamorous, let's say, with Balinskis. Forsling getting all the minutes, but, he's there to play defense, and he does that very well. He does take a decent amount of shots, but A lot of them, whenever I've watched Forsling take his shots, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a clapper from the point
Yeah.
that the goalie could see from a mile away, and there was never any chance of that doing anything. So he does take a lot of empty calorie shots, which do something for fantasy, but realistically, I don't think Forsling is likely to rack up a ton of points for you.
Yep, agreed. It's me, Evan Rodriguez. I'm a chucker. He's a big time chucker. All right, one of the biggest. We're going with that. All right, let's talk about the Islanders. They play pre-Olympics 3 games, 2 off nights, and then post-Olympics 3 games, 1 off night. So the opposite of what Florida does there. So yeah, I think the Islanders are a really nice option for the first part of the week here. You got the ass man, Emil Heineman. He's still doing stuff out here. I mean, solid peripheral floor, I guess. He's not really getting the biz offensively, but yeah, he does other things that are helpful. We got Anders Lee out here, just scoring chances at will. He's doing that. You got Anthony Duclair, Tony DeAngelo, JG, Pat Joe. Talk to me about the Islanders. Like, this is still a team. I can't get excited about them, even if they do well. I'm like, whatever. Throw in Andre Palat in there as well. Buddy gets 2 points in his debut. I mean, are they a wagon now with Palat in there?
Not a wagon, I
Okay.
wouldn't say. I don't think we can quite get there yet.
I'm
Yeah,
already
it's
there.
a it's a weird setup there. They're doing this stupid 1A, 1B power play split that has never worked for any team ever. Barzal on one unit, Horvat on the other, D'Angelo running one, Schaefer running the other. It makes D'Angelo more rosterable than he has been at any point throughout this season since Schaefer burst onto the scene. So D'Angelo is actually probably the guy I'm most interested in if you need a defenseman for this week. Out of all these guys, Heineman's production has fallen off. Anders Lee still continues to have great underlying rate stats, but only skate 14 and a half minutes a night, which makes it really hard for him to actually convert. Duclair was hot for a minute, but his underlings have really fallen off. 365th in shots per 60 the last 5 games. Not where you want to be. Pajot, Palat, honestly, basically no interest for me. They could run hot for a couple games, but that's a real roll of the dice.
Yeah, bottom of the barrel stuff there. I like to take on D'Angelo. I think, yeah, there's something there. I'm still waiting for that special collar. Just pop it up. Tony D'Angelo, just pop that collar, baby. Slick the hair back. He's got to get his helmet sort of like painted in a way that's like, it looks like hair. You know what I mean? Like slicked back. Oakley glasses, right?
Yeah.
I think that is Tony D'Angelo to a T right there.
He definitely has to cover up that haircut.
Yeah, haircut. I mean, buddy, you know what I mean? Yeah, get a helmet that looks like hair. I think that's better. That's definitely an improvement. This guy's an absolute wiener. All right. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins. They have the same schedule as the New York Islanders. So 3 games, 2 off nights pre-Olympics, 3 games, 1 off night post-Olympics. And we're looking definitely at that second line there. Anthony Mantha, Justin Brazeau, still doing stuff out here. It's crazy. Every Pittsburgh game, I check the box score. I'm like, Mantha and Brazeau doing it again. Oh, and then Ben Kindle too. Yeah, he's in there doing stuff. Chris Letang, if he gets back in the lineup, I think, yeah, he's got some value. How are you ranking the Pens?
Yeah, I think you go Mantha first. 8 points in his last 5 games for Anthony Mantha.
Nuts.
There's crazy stuff there. Pretty solid underlings, but again, no ice time. Under 14 minutes average time on ice. Under
Doesn't need it.
13 for Brazeau. Under 14 for Kindle. Yeah, these are definitely deeper league streams, but I mean, I like them. I like the underlying stats. If they ever got more minutes, then I would be pretty interested in that. It's interesting also, we should throw in Igor Chinnikov playing on the top power play in the last game here. So that's something worth investigating at least. I think it probably goes away as soon as Brian Rust is back from his suspension, which he will be by Tuesday next week. So it's probably a short-term thing there, but worth shouting out that it was Chinnikov who was chosen to replace that role, and Brazeau, who went up on the Crosby-Raquel line in Russ' absence here. So a couple of data points for you there. Probably not going to mean much for this particular streaming week, as Rust will only miss 1 game there, but something to keep in mind for sure.
Absolutely, buddy. All right, let's rapid fire this next section here. There are 5 teams that play 5 games with 3 off nights in Week 18. The New Jersey Devils, Philadelphia Flyers, Tampa Bay Lightning, Utah Mammoth, and the Winnipeg Jets. Let's start in Jersey. Pre-Olympics, they play 2 games with 2 off nights. Post, they play 3 games with 1 off night. We're looking at, again, bottom of the barrel stuff here. We got Dawson Mercer and Shimon Nemec. Maybe throw Gritsyak in there as well. Any interest there in any of those 3 players?
Unfortunately, no. I mean, if Gritsuk ever got up the lineup, played some power play one, played some top of the line stuff with Bratton Hughes or Bratton Heischer or Meyer and Heischer, any combination of those
Yep.
other top end guys, I'd be pretty interested in Gritsuk. But aside from that, I have very little interest in any of these guys at the moment.
Yep, and that's fair. I mean, this is one of those things. I remember we've talked about this before, but the Islanders, when we talked about the New York Islanders, there was this narrative that they're this defensive team, and they haven't been for like 2 years or longer. And the Devils are like that with offense. It's like, oh, the New Jersey Devils, they're a wagon offensively. No, all right, they're not. They can't score at 5-on-5. It's a real problem. So a lot of the assets on that team are, we have to think of them a little differently. Let's move on to Philadelphia. They play 2 games with 2 off nights, pre-Olympics, 3 games, 1 off night, post-Olympics. And yeah, you're going to have your pick of probably a few streamers here. Matvei Michkov, if he's still out there. Owen Tippett, the ultimate chucker. On defense, you got Sanheim, you got Cam York, Jamie Drysdale, Christian Dvorak. I want to throw him in here as well. He's been playing really well. That line with Travis Konechny and Trevor Zegras has really been good. Expected goals for. Like that's a line that's one of the better ones in the league in terms of generating offense. So talk to me about the Flyers.
Yeah, I think that some of these guys are interesting. Any of them could have a pop off week here. Matvei Michkov is first amongst all forwards in shots per 60 over the last 5 games.
Oh
Still
my!
skating just over 14 minutes average time on ice, though.
Of course.
Owen Tippett is 10th in individual expected goals for per 60, 16 plus minutes a night, 5 points in the last 5. That sounds great, you might say, but he's playing with Noah Cates and Denver Barkey and not on the top power play unit. So that makes it really tough to envision him sustaining this for a long period of time. And we already know that Tippett runs hot and cold like few others. Christian Dvorak, I tend to agree. Like, he has had a really nice run there, but they totally mixed up the lines in this last game. Zegras was with Brink and Michkov, and Dvorak was with Konechny and Grabankin. They really took out the blender in this last game. They've been having some struggles. So it wouldn't be too surprising if they did kind of blend the lines even more throughout this week. So a lot of unknowns here. I like some of these players individually, but I'm probably going to be waiting to see some lines before making any major decisions on these guys.
Yep, for sure. Denver Barkey, what a name, right? You ever watch that cartoon back in the day, Denver the Last Dinosaur? You know what I'm talking about?
No idea.
Has anybody watched it? Hit us up in the comments if you watched Denver the Last Dinosaur. And if anybody comments, I'll sing it next pod. All right. The theme song, because I got it locked and loaded, folks. All right.
Please don't comment.
That's it. It's out there. It's in the ether. Okay. I'll sing it to you personally, Nate. Don't worry. When I call you late at night with the heavy breathing and stuff, I'll throw the theme song in there as well. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning, Nate. Damn it. Tampa Bay plays 2 games with 2 off nights, pre-Olympics, 3 games, 1 off night, post-Olympics. We're looking at Anthony Cirelli, JJ Moser, the Jerk Store, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Gage Gonsalves, and you put a player in here I've never even heard of before. Groshev. Who the hell? Who is that man?
This is just a response to you not liking me including Gage Gonsalves last week, so I went even deeper on this one. Went for the defenseman Maxim Groshev, who played 1 game, 9 minutes, 57 seconds.
Making me look like an idiot. All right, damn it. All right, I'm going to go out and pick up Maxim Groshev out of spite. All right.
I hope you do in the matchup against you.
No, we don't need to talk about that. All right.
As far as it goes with Tampa Bay, really, I'm only into Cirelli here at the moment. He's got 7 points in his last 5 games, and just looking pretty impressive at the moment. Playing with Kucherov and Hagel at even strength, not on top power play, but doesn't appear to need it at the moment. So Cirelli's the only one I'm really holding the candle for here.
Yeah, for sure. Worth mentioning, like, and it makes sense. You're playing with Hagel and Kucherov. Like, that line is getting to biz in terms of expected goals for. They're really doing the thing. So, good chance he's going to run some offense. I like the pickup. Let's talk about Utah, the Mammoth. Pre-Olympics, 2 games, 0 off nights. Post-Olympics, 3 games, 3 off nights. So Utah is a really good option for the back half of this week here. We got Lawson Krause out there he's been doing stuff. I mean, he's been getting minutes, and certainly with the periffs, like he's been, staying relevant, I think. You got Jack McBain out here. Michael Carconi, the Italian stallion. I noticed you didn't put him in the list, but he's been doing stuff as well. I actually had him streamed in our matchup here, and he got me a couple points. That's nice, some hits and stuff. So shout out to Michael Carconi. You got the Dersey store, Sean Dersey and Barrett Hayton, who's been seeing some time on Power Play 1. How are you ranking the Mammoth?
Yeah, I think Kroos is still on that top line with Keller and Schmaltz is still interesting. Hayton on the top power play is pretty interesting. His underlying numbers have really taken a jump due to that. 5th in shots per 60, 26th individual expected goals for per 60. He's got 4 points in the last 5 games. That's something to look at. McBain is more of a hit streamer. His underlings continue to look not so great. Sean Dersey on the back end, 4 points in his last 5, 20 minutes a night. Underlings look pretty solid, especially the 12th in on ice expected goals for per 60. So, yeah, that's something I'm into. Carconi is a shot you can take. It's not one I think that I'll be taking anytime soon, especially since he's playing with Kyler Yamamoto and Jack McBain. But if you want to tail Blake's stream here, you can definitely pick up Michael Carconi.
People have done it in the past and had great results, Nathan. Mixed results, okay. Actually. Let's be honest about that. All right.
50% of the time.
Yeah. That seems high. All right. Let's talk about the last team, Winnipeg Jets. 5 games, 3 off nights. They play 2 games, 0 off nights. Pre-Olympics, 3 games, 3 off nights. Post, just like Utah. We're talking about Mom Spaghetti, Cole Perfetti, and we're talking about Jonathan Taves and maybe Neil Pionk on the back end, right? If he's getting healthy, I think there's some that's a guy that could, get healthy and play those 3 games, 3 off nights in the back half there. So what do you think about the Jets?
Yeah, I'm pretty uninterested in anything going on here. Jonathan Taves is on the top power play, so I guess break glass in case of emergency, you can go there. But yeah, it's not something that I'm into. Winnipeg, outside of the big guns there, really struggling to get anything going offensively. So it's tough to have any confidence in anybody else.
The big guns sure are flying, though. I love that line. Velarde, Connor, Scheifele. Give it to me, Neil. All right. Neil Pionk. All right. Let's, Nate, we got to talk about the Patreon, and we got to get into these dream streams here.
All right, $2 a month gets you Apples and Ginos Patron League eligibility. At the moment, that'll put you on the wait list. If anybody leaves their team alone, we'll get you in there. $8 tier gets you that APL eligibility. Also gets you access to Patron League Discord channels, Patron League live shows. Blake just did one here today, actually, the day that we're recording this, and that'll be posted on Patreon for anybody who missed it or anybody who joins up now will have access to see that. Show notes, including the show notes for this show right here, also gets you access to the Apples and Ginos player evaluation tool, which lets you look at how incredibly awesome Beckett Seneca is playing in his rookie season. All right, Blake, you ready for some dream streams?
I'm buzzing, buddy.
Let's do it. Over here, we basically rank the players. I'm holding true to how we normally do it, which is ranking based on how many off nights they play and assuming that those are the games that you'll be able to get them in. Obviously, we've talked through everybody here, and you've heard me say my piece on each of them. If you're getting players in on those heavier nights, then that would obviously move these guys up or down the list. So bear that all in mind. But assuming you can only play players on the off nights, that puts basically Buffalo, Washington, Vegas, and Anaheim all on an equal playing field with the 4 off nights each. If that's the case, Beckett Seneca has to be at the top of the list for me. Just how good he's been the last little bit, how many minutes he's been getting and thriving with it. Josh Doan, Jason Zucker, 1A, 1B. I could flip them either way. At the moment, I like both of those. Mikhail Granlund right there as well. I think these 4 make a really nice top tier. And then you get to Chris Kreider. Obviously mentioned the underlying numbers really coming up as of late, so I'm interested in that. Ryan Leonard. With Washington there, you get that before and after schedule, so that makes Ryan Leonard pretty interesting. Ivan Barbashev, Justin Sordiff, Connor McMichael, and Ryan McLeod. Anything you take issue with here, Blake?
Not issue. I do want to shout out Ryan McLeod a little bit. It's a guy that the underlying metrics are never going to look good, but I think he's a really big part of this team and a big part of his line as sort of a play connector, getting the puck to these guys. So I might take him over some of those Washington guys, but I don't know. Well, maybe ninth. I'll put him over Connor McMichael. How dare you?
All right. Best for hits, keeping this brief. Jeremy Lauzon with Vegas, Keegan Colasar, Beck Mallenstein, Nick Dowd, Matt Roy are kind of multi-cat guys if you need somebody who covers a bit more categories. On the block side, Martin Ferrari
The
is number
Ferrari.
one, 2.6 blocks per game in his last 30 days there, which is pretty incredible. He's the best by a wide margin there. Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Matt Roy, Jeremy Lauzon, Rasmus Sandin all do that as well. Anything to add on the bangers?
No notes.
All right, let's move on then and talk about the hold me section. This is where we talk about the players that we would most like to hold or have hold us. We don't discriminate. Number one is going to
Sounds
be Matt
nice.
Zuccarello, 28% rostered, make it make sense. Patrick Kane down to 34% rostered, make it make sense. Jared McCann finding his way up the list here, 42% rostered, obviously is having a monstrous week. This week in particular, I have him in one spot and been enjoying the value that I'm getting out of his play.
Yes,
Jordan
sir.
Kyrou also having a huge rebirth, it feels like there in St. Louis. He's got 7 points and 4 goals in his last five, 18th shots per 60, 31st individual expected goals for per 60, 25th on ice. So he's really doing stuff at the moment. Josh Stone, obviously going to keep him high on this list. Jimmy Snuggerud, I wanted to shout out. He is really coming into his own at the moment. This is an aggressive ranking for sure, but I mentioned him as a player to watch in the flagship show recently, and his underlines have stayed pretty consistently high. 85th shots per 60, 85th individual expected goals for per 60. He's got 4 points in his last 5 games. Scored a big winner at the end of the game there
Yeah.
for them the other night.
Bomb.
I think he's really starting to feel it. 5% rostered. Get some Jimmy Snuggles in your life. Luke Evangelista, Beckett Seneca, Elias Lindholm, Mason Marchment, William Eklund, Jordan Eberle, Anton Lundell, Ryan Leonard, Matt Duchene, and Mikhail Granlund round out the list here, Blake. Anybody that you want to highlight or that you would move up or down?
It's a great list. I think I like your take on Jimmy Snugs, but I'd probably put Evangelista and Seneca over him. But yeah, I mean, this guy's a beauty. And like you said, the underlyings starting to heat up here. We'll see what happens here with the Blues. Like if they do kind of clean house a little bit, he could be in line for a time on ice bump, which could be really nice.
All right, sub 20% roster. It is going to be Snuggerud, Evangelista at the top there. Leonard, Zucker, Kreider. Besser's obviously out at the moment, but holding this place for him here. I wanted to shout out Pavel Buchnevich, who's also been scoring some points in the last little bit here at 18% rostered. Bobby McMahon, who is now a rumor of trade bait, but he's been carving out a spot for himself on the Matthews line. Not going to get power play one anytime soon, but he has been shooting the puck a lot. He provides a bunch of multi-cat stuff, and yeah, running into some points here as well. So could do worse than Bobby McMahon. Sub 10% rostered. Snuggerud going to lead that list, obviously. Taves, Dvorak, Domi, Chinikov. These are guys I think you could look at. It is this time of the year where it starts to get really slim, under 10%, and that's why I'm so excited about Snuggerud, still just at 5% rostered. Anything about these lower rostered players, Blake?
No, not at all. I love the snug stuff. Like I said, Dvorak again. I just want to shout him out. I think that's a guy that can do something for fantasy.
All right, long-term plays on defense. John Klingberg, 10% roster. Jake Wallman, 29%. OEL, Bowen Byram, Tony D'Angelo making an appearance on this list. I don't know how long that split power play lasts, but the minutes are climbing for D'Angelo as well as of late. So when he's playing, he is going to produce some stuff for fantasy. So putting him up here. Mike Matheson, Travis Sanheim, Zane Perek, as we mentioned, coming back next week. Shimon Nemec, have to keep him on just for that offensive potential, but the minutes are down right now, so that's pushing him down this list. Chris Letang and Drew Doughty, guys that I don't really want to be rostering because the ceiling is not very high, but you could if you absolutely needed that fourth defenseman. Sub 20% rostered, Klingberg, D'Angelo, Perek, Nemec all factor in here. After that, Balinskis and Malinsky. Fun little
Balinskis and Malinskis.
almost rhymes. I guess I can't really say that it rhymes, but it's
I
pretty
love that you put
close.
them next to each other too. That's good
Yeah.
potting right there.
Yeah. I've been doing this for a little bit now.
Yeah, you know what you're doing.
JJ Voser, Pavel Menchikov, still keeping them at the bottom of this list here, but it is, again, pretty slim pickings once you get down into these lower roster defensemen. Anything about these defensemen that you want to say here, Blake?
Give me Zane Perek. I think that's a really nice dart throw of a guy that can, potentially, like what would you say his point pace could be if things go well? Like a 45 to 50 point pace? Like that's pretty damn nice.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of goals that the guy scores, like you see just the effortless shooting. There's a lot to like about Zane Perek. It's really just going to be, are they going to let him run with it the way that, like the Islanders let Schaefer run? They're different players. I think Schaefer has really proven his elite ability all over the ice. Perek, I think, has a lot of elite offensive abilities, but will the Flames really let him just go wild with it? I'm not sure. So that could still be a variable there that we have to consider, but the ceiling case at least definitely warrants taking a flyer on a guy 16% rostered. In goal, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Alex Lyon. Basically, you want whoever's playing goal for the Buffalo Sabres right now. This is one of the hottest teams in the league. As you mentioned, with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen out at the moment, go for Alex Lyon, get him in your life. Philip Grubauer taking over at least a 50% start share, if not a little bit more, from Joey Daccord at the moment, 27% rostered. Yaroslav Askarov did get a couple of starts back to back again here. He had been dropped because he started splitting starts with Nedeljkovic. But if he is going to get, even if it's not 2 out of every 3, if it's 2 out of every other 3 or something like that, if he's just getting an extra start here or there, that adds up, especially if you need save volume because San Jose will allow some shots. Joel Hofer, the only viable goaltender in St. Louis. Montreal tandem, Jakob Dobish has gotten the last couple starts here for them and done all right. So that might be something to watch moving forward if Dobish ends up taking a bigger chunk of this. Obviously, the Canadians, good team. If either of these guys gets going, you want that piece. Connor Ingram, we still have on the list here as well. And then if we go sub 25% rostered, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. You're looking at the Vancouver tandem with Kevin Lankinen or
Why'd you have to say it like that?
Tolopilo?
I like the way you said it.
Okay. I don't know how I said it, so we'll just leave it there. Jonathan Quick and Spencer Martin for the Rangers. Yeah, anything you want to say about the goaltenders? Anybody I missed?
No. I love the the Buffalo tandem there. I love what's going on in Buffalo. Do you see Alex Tuck's interview where he's like, "We're not here to make the playoffs. Like we want the cup." He straight out came out and said that. This guy's awesome. I love Alex Tuck. He seems dialed in. So I think, I want a piece of the Buffalo Sabres goaltending there.
All right. We have one more order of business, and that is the head-to-head streamer deathmatch.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a snoozer this week for the two of us. Blake went with Big Kuzi, did pick up a goal there. 7 points so far for Kuzmenko. I picked Mason Marchment, and that was the wrong choice. Should have gone with Charlie Coyle, apparently. But one more game there for Marchment on the weekend. We'll see how it goes. Looking good for Blake at the moment with 2 more games remaining for Kuzmenko. Next week, Blake, we completely forgot to figure this out. Oh, you didn't forget? It's just me again. I keep doing this to myself.
All right. Well,
just going with Jason Zucker.
I'm taking Big Pimpin' Jay-Z. I love it. Yeah. First off, I'll let you kind of have a look there. The Coiler, what the hell? Oh my God. This is some amazing stuff. The guy's filling the bowl. He's upper decking it. He's filling the back part as well. It's just crazy. I mean, you love to see it. This guy just hit his 1,000th game, and now he just got 4 points here tonight on the Friday. So yeah, Charlie Coyle, he's a viable option as well too. Like maybe definitely a guy you want to be holding currently.
Yeah. I I've been surprised by it because he's never
Yeah.
really shown this ability before.
Well,
Like,
but he had that. He had a hot stretch in Boston there. I don't know if it was
sure,
last year, but it was a stretch, and then it went
yeah,
away.
yeah. And yeah, honestly, like I watched the goals they scored tonight, and I'm like, he's doing the right things. Like
Looks good.
it's not all luck here. I mean, having Zach Werenski on the back end to find you for every one of these goals is definitely not hurting his case either. But yeah, hard to argue with what's going on for Charlie Coyle at the moment. It'll be interesting actually to see if Columbus remains on the outside of the playoff picture looking in, if they actually think this might be the best opportunity they have to reap a big reward for Charlie Coyle if they move off him. So that's something to watch there as well. I really don't have a strong take even after examining all
Love
of
to hear
these
this.
players. I thought you might enjoy that. So honestly, I am just going to play the heel, and I'm going to take Tony D'Angelo in his 6 games in
Oh
this stretch.
wow! Oh, he's
And if
reeling,
the
folks. This is unbelievable. Nate's on tilt right now, and I'm here for it.
and if Tony D'Angelo wins this for me, then
Yeah.
yeah, you'll never hear the end of
Would
it.
you? No.
So
Would you feel good about that, Nathan?
I, to be determined, I guess,
Okay, there you go.
on that front. Well, if people listened with us all the way to this point, they should probably click the link in the description. Join the Discord community. Come talk fantasy hockey with 2,000 plus other fantasy hockey managers. While you're here, if you wouldn't mind, a like, a rating, a review, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment on the video or the podcast, wherever you're getting it. Really do appreciate all of that. It really does help us out. That is going to be all that we've got for this episode. Hopefully, it brought you some value, helped you get a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. All the advanced stats you heard today came from Natural Stat Trick and 18 Skaters. Many thanks to Matt Creamer for supplying the music for the podcast. That's it, folks. Much love.